morning, everybody. I am back online, and we are heading into Nvidia earnings. Nvidia earnings report after the market closes today, and that is going to tell everybody out there where we're headed as we go into September 18th. I don't have the Nvidia earnings report out, so all we can do is go over where we're at. But Nvidia will be reporting after the close today, and then action can be taken from here until September 18th for where that momentum will be taking us. Today, nothing. MBA mortgage applications, 7 o'clock in the morning, nothing. Then we get a 5-year note auction at 1 o'clock, nothing. And then after the market closes, Nvidia's earnings come out. Tomorrow, Thursdays are jobless claims. Jobless claims every Thursday, so we're getting that tomorrow. We got GDP coming out tomorrow as well, and we also have the advance U.S. core PCE prices with the actual U.S. core PCE prices coming on Friday. Don't know why they do that, but that's what they do. So anyway, that's what we've got going on. I'm going to ring you really quick over onto the spreadsheets that I was happily able to update, and Tuesdays close green. Unfucking believable, but Tuesdays close green. I couldn't even get on the computer. I was on a tablet and a cell phone in the rain under an umbrella, just so that I could be sure that I could get those, messages out there. And Tuesdays close green. Come back to you here on Monday. Monday, unfortunately, 56.25, 56.20, 400%. Being offline yesterday, there was no actual trade that I posted out there, but again, closing green. Didn't update this as of yet, but again, coming on here to Tuesdays and going from April 30th, from the end of April 30th, every single Tuesday has closed green. Let me make sure that I have that right. August 20th, let's get that. Holy shit, we closed red last Tuesday. I'm wrong. Oh my God, I'm wrong. Anyway, okay, so let's go over on to QQQ. Drop down below 473. Ooh, scary, but as you see, was working how all your visits were up in the 480s. You were dipping down below 480 every day. Yesterday was pretty shitty, having come down right to that 473.01, bing, and bounced right off of it, which I'll show you in a couple of minutes. But very interesting here how you did not dip below 5600 there on Monday. Even though there was 400% on the 5600 puts, the 0 DTEs didn't dip below 5600 there on Monday. So I'll get over this as we zoom in because, again, IWM 220s, bye-bye. 217, hello, and we're still not pushing onto that 212. So nothing really to start talking about because, again, Nvidia reports earnings after the market closes, and then we know everything that we need to know about everything in the world. So let's just get on to that. Nvidia reporting earnings. First and foremost, SPX, this is where we're at, 51.1926. 3 weeks ago Monday, 4 weeks ago Monday, however long ago it was, when we were screaming, this is the bottom, this is the bottom, this is the bottom. Here we are having almost completely filled this gap to the upside. Almost. Gap from last week over there on Thursday. Just down there into that low 5,500. Here is your jobless claims. Here's your PCE, PCI. It doesn't really get better than this other than you are extended above extensions. And what does it actually mean? Where are we? Well, where we are, we'll come on to stay here in your default. Again, what we've been tracking here with the A wave down, this being what we are still considering a B wave, despite being back at all-time highs, despite being up here, even a fractionally higher high. But we're looking at this from a bullish point of view. A 1, 2, the 3 being up there with a very shallow 4, very shallow 4. And pending here into our 5. Now we'll zoom in on a 10-day, which will allow me to explain this a little bit better. 10-day, 15-minute. Here's your big gap. I'll show you here your gap. This is your jobless claims gap, unfilled from going back there a little more than a week ago. And what we're tracking here is A3 completed, this being an AP for a very, very, very shallow 4. And now looking at this as a pending possible final of the finals bullish wave 5 with a 1 and a 2 already in place. This is not a 3. 3 can't be smaller than 1, so we're still looking at something up here into this 56.66, and to extend it a little bit higher, we should see 56.83. So pending an Nvidia absolute bonkers surprise out the ballpark, fucking AI is gonna make your dick 7 inches longer. 56.83 is up there. Women, I apologize, because a 7-inch longer dick might not be appropriate for what you're looking for. 56.83 is highly, highly probable given an Nvidia meet, greet, new tattoo, surprise, boom to the upside move today. What we need to see short term is a break below 55.85. Shorter and wider term, we need to see a break below 55.60. And until we start getting into this gap down here, down below 5,500, we're still pending for all of this to just be an elongated wave 4, from this being a very shallow wave 4. So there's a lot that still needs to be proven. You got your gap from last week right there to 55.70. Didn't fill on Friday. You've got your jobless claims gap from a week ago, and you've got your big 55.63, which, having been that we are now going on better than a week, that we are up in this range, very, very easy to take this to the upside. Very easy. And we are going to we'll load our studies on here, and I need to change that again because I don't want that up there. What you see here is you see your 10-day moving average moving up. This makes it easier for the downside move. Gapping down below the 5-day and the 10-day all in one fell swoop makes it easier. Until then, your 5-day is going to continue to be your short-term support area. It's now up in the it's in the mid 5600s for the range that we are in, which is at 5630, 56, call it whatever, 100, because we aren't breaking below 5600. I get rid of this here, hide that study on the 20-day, hide the 50-day, no, wrong place, studies, edit studies, get the 50-day off, boom, cancel, no, get it off. Your 10-day moving average moving up, your 5-day moving average consistently staying in this range because we've been here for so long. Your 5-day moving average is going to continue to be your support level. Your 10-day moving average moving up, that will be your secondary support level. And as you can see it being down here at 55.83 yesterday, it will be up here in the 55.90 area, closer to 5600. So aggressively playing for a dip is not a very smart move. VIX. Oh, sad to see 1622 get abandoned, but this 1542, that's your last hope. It's your last hope. It's Princess Leia over there with Luke Skywalker sending the message through R2-D2. It is the last hope. We lose 1542. Nvidia going to be reporting their earnings tonight. Not only is 1451 going to be forced, but we're going into September 18th. And the reason I'm mentioning this, okay, again, apologize for taking up too much of your time. Right over here on Monday, we hit 56.51.62. That was above 56.43.22. Above where the full moon high was. So, for the record, that's broken. It's broken. It's gone. That gives a 90% probability that we are going higher. So, with that in mind, coming back onto it, Seeing the VIX to drop down lower would only help to confirm that. Seeing the SPX fill this one gap that is left, which is 15 points to the upside, 16 points, going up into that, again, 56.83, we should then, from there, okay, we should see that being a 3, then a dip down into this 56, call it right around here, 56.50, that would be our 4. And then as we head into the FOMC meeting, we would be looking at the final fifth wave, possibly up into that 57.15 area. After that, it's all over. So that's what we're pending looking at here. This being a move on the upside, then a dip down here, and then the move to the upside over here over the course of the next, call it 3 weeks. Bring it back in to, oh, we're still here, boom, 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 and again with your VIX, but looking at it from the big, broad, wide view, again, nothing whatsoever has changed. Big, broad, wide view. Nothing has changed. Nothing but a possible delay of a couple of weeks. QQQ, again, looking at this as a clean ABC. Right back onto that 473, right onto that 473 support level, right back onto that 473 support level, right on there. Bang, 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 support, 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 resistance, support, support. Now, looking at it from a shorter term point of view, this is a nice move off of 485 down to 473. We've accomplished nothing. Nothing at all has been accomplished. Nothing whatsoever. Bring you back into all the moving averages. The 20-day being way down here, which we don't need, so we'll hide it. The 50-day, the 10-day, the 5-day, all congested right in this 475, 477 area. So quite obvious why QQQ is holding this area, because Nvidia is going to be reporting earnings tonight. Come on in to, again, QQQ. You do have a gap to be filled still, 488, 496. And these are, I'll move that. These are your gaps to the downside, only going back to the lows from there in August. These are your gaps to the downside. Nvidia. Now, again, call it what you want, but for me, this looks very clean, looks very tidy, coming all the way off of that October of 2023 low. We'll zoom it in a little bit wider, and yeah, from that split adjusted $10.81. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like to see this as an ABC, but a lot of other people don't like that. So I zoom in here and show you a zoomed in view. And again, an ABC move to the downside, an ABC move to the upside, with 131.56 being a perfect 200 extension. I don't know what their report is. I don't know. But obviously, any kind of Papa! And we're going to be seeing higher than 141 up into that 150 area. Again, don't know what the report is. I have no idea what's going to be coming out. IWM, again, failure up at that 222 level, but still no breakdown. Breakdown down below 213. So again, we're holding into no man's land. Over on DIA, the Dow Jones very much looks like it's completed. Wider view, any kind of view that you want, looks like a completed move to the upside. Now what we will need to see is a break below 407, break below 405, and that's not going to happen overnight. So again, no magic that you're going to get out of that. So once again, 5600, it's your support level. That's what we're working with for now. We've got nothing on the table today, nothing whatsoever, no reports. So sit back, buy a big bag of popcorn, and Nvidia is going to be reporting earnings at the end of the night, and we all know what we think about Nvidia. Well, at least I know what I think about Nvidia.
And Nvidia has been the single worst company we've ever dealt with. So Nvidia, fuck you.
thing. There was another thing that my good friend Jim Chanos, who we spoke to last week down at the conference, he mentioned that, the company Nvidia, and it's detailed in this article also and in this Barclays note, that they've made like 24 VC investments in the Nvidia space, where those companies, they take the capital and then they're buying the GPUs, and the GPUs are serving as collateral for the capital. And we saw that at the turn of the century, right? So this is not going to end particularly well. You can't go up $750 billion in a straight line on not much news, Tim, not much company-specific news, and not think that it has the potential to go the other way just as violently.
How do
there's been a lot of talk about how a reasonably large percentage of NVIDIA sales are coming from sales to startups. There's two sides that have been battling this out on YouTube and on Twitter. On the first side, you have the people that say this is normal course of business. Investment banks invest in a startup, and then the startup sends the money back to their core provider, and the whole thing is a big circle jerk called round tripping. And then you have the people who unfortunately are being labeled conspiracy theorists, but they're not conspiracy theorists. In fact, they're not only being called conspiracy theorists, they're being called randos, R-A-N-D-O, a pejorative term that basically says, well, they're not part of Wall Street, so their analysis doesn't matter. And it's very unfortunate because the randos, as they're being called, are actually describing the situation exactly as it is. Now, whether you want to invest in Nvidia or invest in one of these startups, most of which are not publicly traded yet, some of them will make it to an IPO and some of them won't. But we're going to go through this whole thing. And I'm going to explain it to you, because this argument that's going on Twitter and on YouTube between the people that say what Nvidia is doing is perfectly legal, which is true, and the people that are being labeled conspiracy randos, which is a hilarious term if you think about it, conspiracy randos. Actually, the conspiracy randos are telling you the truth. You're just not listening. So everybody knows that the Mr. Yen brand is about the truth. I don't lie. I tell you the truth. I was a forensic accountant, for Christ's sake. I was the CFO of 3 different companies. I've been a day trader now for 11 years. So if I tell you something about the futures market, you should probably at least give it a listen. If I talk to you about accounting or banking, you probably should listen. I have experience in a wide variety of fields. And I'm tired of this argument that's causing all this furor on YouTube and Twitter about whether or not what Nvidia is doing is manipulation. I'm going to break the whole transaction down for you. And then you can make up your own mind. Everything I'm about to tell you is true. Okay? Are you ready? Are you ready to roll? And I do want to say, because, one of the phrases that's associated with me is when I would go on these rants and I'd say, why do I got to do everything around here? This is one of those moments. Why do I got to do everything around here and explain fucking accounting to morons? Okay? So the people that are calling the other people conspiracy randos, you're fucking assholes. Because now I'm going to fucking explain the transactions to you, and then you can make up your own fucking mind. All right, here we go. Because there's a piece to this that you're all missing. Everybody says, well, let's just start with a statement and then we'll go back. Everybody says, why would investment firm A put $450 million into cloud AI startup? We'll call that one CoreWeave. Why would this firm put $450 million into CoreWeave? Seems risky. Well, first of all, private equity is always risky. Second of all, if they can get through Series A, Series B, and Series C and go to an IPO, they'll get all their money back. But there's a third reason you morons are missing. Investment firm A, we'll call them, has 30 million shares of Nvidia, you goddamn moron. For every $10 Nvidia goes up, they make $300 million. If Nvidia goes up $100, they make $3 billion. If Nvidia goes up $1,000, they make $30 billion. Okay? They invest in this cloud startup, and we'll call this one CoreWeave. CoreWeave, for those that don't know, CoreWeave is building the Ferrari of AI hosting. It's not a minivan. You know, if you need a minivan, you go to AWS, right? If you want the Ferrari, you go to CoreWeave. Because CoreWeave is betting that there's enough demand for the Ferrari that they can build, 25 hosting facilities or whatever the fuck they're doing. Okay, I'm not making a value judgment, but the people behind CoreWeave used to trade natural gas futures. Okay, great. I'm the greatest living Forex trader in the world. That doesn't qualify me to run a fucking AI company, but besides the point. Okay, so this firm, firm number one, invests $450 million in the first year and a half of CoreWeave startup. People who are just simply hopping on the AI bandwagon, they used to be natural gas traders. And after that, they mined Ethereum. I guess that qualifies them to run an AI cloud hosting facility. Jesus Christ. But anyway, you say, well, why the fuck would they put $450 million into this firm? Because by doing so, this firm sends the money back to Nvidia, and Nvidia, follow my cursor, I love to say follow my cursor, Nvidia gets the money back from cloud startup, AI, which again, in this example, we're calling CoreWeave. Nothing against CoreWeave. They're building a Ferrari. We'll see if enough people want to use a Ferrari. I don't know. I'm just a day trader. How the fuck would I know? I would ask the same question of the management at CoreWeave. How the fuck would you know how many people want to use the Ferrari? You were fucking day traders in the natural gas futures market. But be that as it may, this bet could work. But this firm doesn't care. Don't you get it? They don't care. This firm right here, follow my cursor, right here. They put the $450 million in because it's helping Nvidia blow out their earnings, and then the shares that they own in Nvidia go up $300, and they make $90 billion. What the fuck do they care about the $450 million? They're helping Nvidia hit their numbers, and then Nvidia's stock skyrockets when they beat earnings, and this firm makes $10 billion. That's the part you're not getting. That's the part you're not fucking getting. You can talk about round tripping all you want. Okay? Investment firm one sends the money to these startups. And by the way, there's like 33 of them. And Nvidia has invested in 33 different firms. I've only listed 6 here because I don't think we need to type 33 lines. Just assume these are 33 different companies. Not only did investment firm 1, 2, 3, 4 invest in these 33 companies, so did Nvidia. Why? Why would they do that? Well, because all these firms, wait for it, hold stock in Nvidia. Collectively, they own 200 million shares of Nvidia. For every $10 Nvidia goes up, they make $2 billion. For every $100 Nvidia goes up, they make $20 billion. For every $1,000 that Nvidia goes up, they make $200 billion. So yes, it's round tripping, which is not illegal, by the way. These firms gave money to these firms who then sent the money back to Nvidia. And then Nvidia shipped the chips. Thereby, Nvidia beat their earnings. Thereby, the stock went up $980 in the last fucking year. And these firms made tens of billions of dollars. So yes, it is a round trip. This firm, 1, 2, 3, 4, all different firms. Call them whatever you want. Bain, Carlyle, Blackstone, BlackRock, Magnetar, pick a company. They invested in these companies as startups, Series A, Series B, Series C. They also helped them get debt financing. But so did Nvidia. Why? Because all this money goes back to Nvidia, and Nvidia then ships them chips and beats their numbers. Now you say, well, but all these investment firms could lose a lot of money on these 33 startups down here. Yeah, but they don't care because their bigger investment is in fucking Nvidia. You goddamn morons. That's the game. That's the game. Don't you get it? It's all a circle jerk. They're all working in cohesion. That's the whole fucking point. God, why do I do everything around here? Now, I'm not saying that this robotics company that got all this money from investment firm 3 here, I'm not saying they're going to make it, not make it. I'm not making a pejorative judgment. But in most of these cases, these people aren't qualified to be the third assistant cocksucker at a Mongolian clusterfuck. They don't know anything about AI. It's the hot thing. So they did a startup. These guys pumped the money to them, who then sent the money back to Nvidia. Follow my cursor. It's a game. You send the money to them, they buy more chips and send the money back to Nvidia. It's a funnel. And then Nvidia's stock soars when they beat earnings 3 times in a row, like they have. And these guys right here, it's not that they don't care about these investments. What they care about more is that Nvidia's stock price is going to go up, and they're going to make tens of billions of dollars. Collectively, the firms that are investing in AI, private equity, and investment banks on Wall Street, have over 200 million shares of Nvidia. Let me say that again, 200 million shares. If Nvidia goes up just $10, they make $2 billion. If Nvidia goes up $100, they make $20 billion, which dwarfs the money that they invested in the startups. And of course, the startups send the money, follow my cursor, doink, 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 they send the money back to Nvidia. But what risk is the investment firm taking? Even if every one of these startups failed, it wouldn't fucking matter. As long as Nvidia soars high enough and they dump their shares when the time comes, they've made hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. These guys right here. What risk do you really think these firms are taking in investing in these startups? Let me fucking break it down for you. They're not taking any fucking risk because they're invested in Nvidia and they're helping Nvidia hit their numbers. Why do I gotta explain this? It's basic fucking math. Oh, it just drives me crazy. These arguments on Twitter. Ah, my God, it's round tripping. Yeah, no shit. A second-year accounting student figured out that it's round tripping. But what's the real key? The real key is that the investment firms have shares in Nvidia. That's why they're helping them. It's all a game. They all know each other. You know, this guy in this medical AI startup, which I'm not going to name, they don't know fucking jack shit about AI. Just like CoreWeave, when they started out, didn't know jack shit about hosting. I'm sure they've learned by now. They've hired the right people, and they seem to be building a good firm. I mean, it's a Ferrari. I don't know how many people in the end of the day are going to use the Ferrari. We'll find out when they go, because this is the one firm, CoreWeave here, they're going to make it to the IPO status. And that's good because these firms will get their money back. But the question is, do enough people want to use CoreWeave's Ferrari? That's the bet. They might be right. They might be wrong. How the fuck would I know? I'm a day trader. What I'm saying is that, fuck, I probably know more about AI than these fucking guys. But they got the money. They got the expertise. They hired the expertise, and they're building these host facilities, which are Ferraris. They're not minivans. See, there's 2 things in business. There's the minivan. In a minivan, you take your kids to soccer, you pick the other kid up from softball practice, and you go home, and then you go to the grocery store, and then on the way back, you pick up the kid when he's done the softball practice. And the other kid's at Bible class, and you pick them up at 8 p.m. You use your minivan to do that basic driving around. For the Ferrari, you wouldn't take a Ferrari and make 7 trips a day. You're not going to the Wawa in your Ferrari. You're taking the minivan. Well, CoreWeave didn't build a minivan. They built a Ferrari. And their bet is that enough people will need to use the Ferrari. They could be right. I don't know. They might be right. They might be wrong. But to the investment firms, it doesn't matter because they're helping Nvidia hit their numbers, and then the stock that they have in Nvidia is soaring. Right? It's this piece that matters, not this piece. Right? Follow my cursor. This piece is one relationship, but this is the key. If Nvidia can ship enough chips and beat their earnings, these people make tens of billions of dollars. Even if every one of these fucking companies failed, it wouldn't matter. If you put 10, 12, 15, 20 billion into startups, but the shares that you own in Nvidia, these firms, if their shares are up $700 a share, which they probably are, you're talking $100 billion, bro. What the fuck do they care about this 20 billion? And half of these will probably make it to the IPO state, and they'll get their money back anyway. CoreWeave will make it to the IPO status. They're knocking on the door of an IPO now. So when the IPO happens, all these investment firms that invested in CoreWeave will get their money back, but they don't really care about that. They care about the shares that they own in Nvidia, which are soaring. They went from being rich to just being just stupid rich. These companies here. So is it round tripping? Of course. Round tripping is not illegal. It's not like it's done all the time, but we haven't, it's not like this is unprecedented. They send money to these guys who then send it back to Nvidia. Nvidia ships more shares, blows out earnings, and the investment firms, which are in the middle of this circle jerk, make $150 billion. I don't know how many of these 33 firms that Nvidia and the investment firms pump money into are going to make it. First of all, probably only a third of them are going to make it to IPO status. And just because you make it to IPO status and you launch a publicly traded company doesn't mean you're going to make it. You might not. I mean, look at CoreWeave. CoreWeave, and we're using this as the CoreWeave example. Not that I'm picking on them, but they built a Ferrari. They didn't build a minivan. Do enough people want to use a Ferrari? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. The stock will go public. I don't know. It'll probably go $70 a share or something, and then it'll soar to 500, and then maybe it'll stay there. It might not. Depends on if they can find enough customers that want to rent AI space off of their servers. Because it's not cheap. It could be as little as $2,200 a month. It could be as much as $200,000 a month. It depends on how many GPU cores you want to rent. Not the least of which is that AMD has a chip that's actually faster than NVIDIA's H100. And now they have partners that are building cloud AI startups to compete with CoreWeave. And they have, companies like TensorWave and companies like that. So that's another problem for CoreWeave. There's other people that are doing the same thing using other chips. So how would I know if they're going to be able to execute this Ferrari plan? The minivan plan, think about like Amazon Web Services, the hosting facilities. Think about you have a piece of software that does accounting, like NetLedger or something. Well, you have it hosted in the cloud and you pay a certain amount of money for that, but that's not a Ferrari. That's a minivan. It's basic blocking and tackling. What CoreWeave is building is a Ferrari, and their bet is that enough people will need the Ferrari. If you believe in that, then when CoreWeave goes public, and they will, buy the stock. If you believe that they can find enough customers that need the Ferrari, then you should buy the stock. If you don't believe it, then don't buy the stock. I don't give a fuck. But all the arguments about whether this is round tripping or not are silly. Of course it's round tripping. Even a second-year accounting student at fucking Villanova knows it's round tripping. It's all a funnel. The investment firms give the money to the startups, and the startups give it back to Nvidia so they can ship more chips. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure that out. The part that you're missing is the investment firms have a risk-free position because they own shares in Nvidia. And if they can help Nvidia hit their numbers, That's where the money is. This shit don't matter. This shit don't matter. They could all fail and it wouldn't matter. As long as Nvidia's stock goes up, these guys win. And I'm hoping that this video will solve this argument that is lasting all over Twitter and YouTube. Nvidia's round tripping. They're blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, yeah, no shit, they're round tripping. Jesus Christ, I'm a forensic accountant. I figured that out like on, day 5. Try to catch up. But as an investor, what you need to decide, is this sustainable? And then if it is, buy Nvidia. Or buy CoreWeave stock when they go public. I don't care. This phase of it, let's just uncheck this here and just think about this as a whole phase. This mania, is it sustainable? Because the only one of these companies right now that's public is Nvidia. So you have to decide, do I want to buy Nvidia or not buy Nvidia? That's all. And eventually some of these startups, this robotics company, which I'm not naming, and the medical startup, which I'm not naming, if they make it to IPO status, then you can buy the shares and see if these guys who have heads full of dreams can actually execute a fucking business plan. Not a one of them in any of these companies, and I'm not picking on CoreWeave, not a one of these motherfuckers knows anything about AI. They just hopped on the bandwagon because these guys said, hey, if you start an AI company, we got a bunch of money for you. And there's one of these companies where the guy used to be a plumber. I guess that qualifies him to run a fucking medical AI startup. Yeah. I was a plumber. I can do medical devices. We're going to put AI in there and do this, and it's going to touch the cloud and get more data and reconfigure the robotics and the medical equipment. Okay, because you fix toilets, that makes you qualified to fucking run an AI company. All right. We'll see how that works out. These firms down here were started because these firms, they all know each other, and these firms put the word out. We got some money for you. But you gotta jump on this AI thing, brother. So, 33 companies get started in a period of 2.5 years. Nvidia then comes along and invests in every one of them, thereby marrying them to their chip. You see, these companies aren't allowed to buy other people's chips. They're only allowed to buy Nvidia's chips. That's why Nvidia made the investment. There's clauses in the contract. They got to buy Nvidia chips. Will all these companies make it to IPO status? No. Will the ones that make it to an IPO and go public be a good stock? In most cases, no. Every once in a while, you find a unicorn. The robotics company here, that could be a unicorn. CoreWeave could be a unicorn. The medical AI could be. It's hard. That's too far in the future. How the fuck would I know? I know about as much as the people that started these AI companies, which is to say nothing. But they hopped on the bandwagon at the right time, and sometimes you get lucky. But in the end of the day, these guys are not taking any risk. They could lose all their investments in these firms. As long as Nvidia's shares continue to levitate, they made so much fucking money, I can't even explain it to you. They don't have 10 million shares in Nvidia. They have hundreds of millions of shares in Nvidia. Do that math. Every $10 it goes up, they're making $2 billion. Goes up 100, they make $20 billion. Goes up 1,000, they make $200 billion. You think they really fucking care whether these companies make it or not? I mean, they do because they'll get their money back, but that's not central to this whole scheme. What's central is that Nvidia beat their earnings every quarter. And I hope I've explained this to you, and we finally settled this issue. Is it round tripping? Of course. Round tripping is not illegal. Will all these companies be great companies? No, most of them are going to be dog shit. Is there a unicorn in here, these 33? Remember, I've only listed 6, but there's 33. Is there a unicorn? Maybe. But it was done because of the AI hype. That's what caused these companies to come into creation. It was like, let me use an example for you to help you out. Back when the coffee thing started with Starbucks, I mean, Starbucks was a unicorn, the unicorn of all unicorns. If you were an early investor in Starbucks, you have a beach house, a boat, you got a house in Maine. got a house in the Seychelles. You're rich if you were involved in the startup of Starbucks. Well, here's the funny thing. After it looked like Starbucks was going to become a big thing, the amount of money that these investment firms were willing to put into coffee startups was unfucking believable. There was like 9 coffee franchises started. Because coffee was the big thing. Look at Starbucks. We need more of this. Oh, yeah, most of them aren't around anymore. Starbucks is still here, and they're going to be here for a long time. They were the unicorn. The other coffee companies, they're not even here anymore. I think there's one, so I'm not going to name. But when Starbucks became big, these 4 investment firms, these 10 investment firms, they had a lot of money for coffee startups. That's the way it works. So now AI is the big thing. Magically, 33 new companies got launched, and Nvidia put a little investment in every one and married these companies to themselves so that they would buy their H100 chips and then send the money back to them when they got the funding, right? These guys fund these guys who send the money back to this guy, who then ships more chips to these guys, thereby allowing this guy to hit his earnings numbers every quarter, and the stock soars, thereby helping these guys make $100 billion. I hope you get it now. I hope you get what I'm saying. Now, as far as CoreWeave, there's all kinds of controversy about this whole thing. Are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? Listen, I'm a day trader. How the fuck would I know? You know, the guys that started the company were futures traders. I guess that qualifies them to run a fucking cloud hosting facility with 700 employees globally in 19 different countries, which is part of their vision. Yeah, I guess being a futures trader qualifies you to do all those fucking things. Well, what you do is you bring in expertise, which the founders of CoreWeave have done, and whether they can execute that plan, how the fuck would I know? I'm just a dumbass day trader. But now I've explained to you the whole scheme, and you can make your own decision whether or not to invest in Nvidia. It's not my business. I'm not an investment advisor. I'm a dumbass day trader. I'm the king of fucking Forex trading. And I wouldn't say I'm top 100 in the S&P 500 futures, but I'm certainly top 1,000 traders in the world. That doesn't qualify me to run an AI shop. It doesn't qualify me to run a medical AI startup. It doesn't qualify me to run a software as a service. That's what SaaS means, by the way. Software as a service AI startup. I'm just a dumbass day trader. And most of the people that did these startups couldn't find their ass with a map and a fucking flashlight. But these guys don't care because they have investments in Nvidia, and as long as the stock goes up, they're good. I hope that helps you. And I hope this perpetuates all over Twitter and YouTube, and you can all stop arguing. Oh, it's round tripping. Of course it's round tripping. Duh. What, did your mom hold your head over a gas pipe when you were a baby? Of course it's round tripping. That's not the point. The point is that these firms have investments in Nvidia. As long as the stock goes up, this shit don't fucking matter. They can all fail because they already bought all the chips to help Nvidia make their earnings. So if all these companies get swept away, nobody fucking cares. Because all these investment firms have shares in Nvidia and they made $100 billion. Welcome to Wall Street, motherfuckers. Have a nice day. Don't hurt yourself.